really good visuals going on right now. All right.
A little bit more.
And you're in bed too. It just keeps getting better.
I know. I had to I'm a boudoir photographer. We have to keep it real, even if I'm
I'm so
traveling.
excited to do this with you. I'm so excited that we finally hooked up. It was
Oh
such
no!
a process. I'm
After
joining the Arcanum and you can pick me up. And then I'm like, I went and I looked and we have an antechamber thing where we can see everyone and you were not coming up. And it was
that was
Natalie
what's
swooped
going
in
on?
and
I
grabbed you in 45 minutes. And I'm
I
so I'm
know.
messaging Peter. I'm like, I'm looking for this girl. She is in there. She is mine. I love her. I have to have her. He's like, no, Miss Daniela picked her up. I was like, son of a bitch.
I had no. I seriously, to this day, am still a little confused by Google Plus. So I had no. I didn't even know that that's how it worked. I thought we just go in and we pick you. I didn't realize it was the other way around. So I was really confused. But it ended up perfectly, and I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, well, it worked out really well because you did actually get a couple of weeks or months with her too, which, as soon as I heard she picked you up, I was begging to get into her cohort for weeks because I love her too.
Yeah, she's really, really incredible. I mean, I was away.
But we were reunited, we broke up for a little bit. You cheated on me with a hotter girl.
I would
But I'm okay with it.
With you.
You're back where you belong.
Yes,
all right.
So happy to be here.
You're going to go up and click on the screen share and then just select whatever program you're using to show off those gorgeous images.
Okay. Wait.
Now, you and I have actually done this before with the Mentoring Monday outside the Arcanum and your boudoir, and I know you, so you're going to get it harder than most people.
Awesome. Okay, so I have to bring up, sorry, I have serious Google Plus problems. So let me find where I have this, and I will be, oh my goodness, I feel so, all right, here we go. Got that. Okay, let's see if we can pull this together. I'm really excited by my, yes. Did it come up?
No, I'm still seeing you. So there we go. Okay, we're all set.
I'm so excited right now.
I was hoping you were going to put this one in. I love this photo. I mean, tell me what you think, and then I will judge it harshly.
I mean, I love it. I have a very, so I met this model via, I don't know how we were ever connected, to be honest with you, but I think it was actually through a friend of mine in college. And there's another photographer, Edward Carter Simon, who took this gloriously gorgeous, golden light photo of her in New Orleans. And she'd posted it, and I'd never really, I'd see her in my feed, but I wasn't even, but this photo just, blew me away, and I was like, holy crap, I have to photograph this girl. And when I met her, we just had this, such an amazing connection right away, and she lives here in New York, so we've maintained this beautiful friendship and text each other every day, and she's amazing, and she's an incredible writer, and but anyway, so she this whole photo shoot, she was really sick for about a year and in bed, and when I saw her photo, I was like, fairies, that's all I could think about. And when she came in and I took these photos, she was like, I started crying, and she's like, I've spent the last, year in bed, and this is the first time I felt like a woman again. And I was like, oh my God, please stop, because you know how that works. Get very emotional about that stuff. But, so, I love all of these. Of course, there's technical things that, that I would have changed. I think in this, I feel like her, now that I'm looking at it, weeks away from it, her eyes are very too intense. I would have maybe come out a little bit and not chopped off her arm, because I think it looks a little awkward. But otherwise, I love her face, and that's how
I just love I just love this shot, and I love the model. She is gorgeous. I don't mind the intensity of the eyes. I'm curious how much of that is her, because she looks like she has really striking eyes. Like, are they just piercing in real life?
No, they are very piercing. I mean, I obviously like bumped it up to like, because we were
Right.
doing this like fairy-esque shoot, so I kind of wanted to make it like outer worldly. Like I didn't want to just
Mhm.
um but I it's funny because I haven't looked. I've done a couple of shoots with her since then, and I haven't really looked at these since then, and I love it. But now I'm like, is it too much on the eyes? Like, does it look almost alien-like, or is it like, does it work with what's going on?
It may look, I mean, it does look a little surreal just because it's not a typical color or, you know, vibrancy that you usually see.
Yeah.
But with her face, I think it works, and with your style of photography, I think it's beautiful. I don't have a problem with it being almost otherworldly because
Okay.
she's like the sexiest fucking alien I've ever seen in my
I
life.
know.
And
Like,
I'm
when she like
totally
lost
fine with
her
that. And I'm
beard.
usually not a big fan of, like, all of my stuff is very implied, so I tend to not show off. Like, the general rule is like no nips, no lips kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But I think that it really works here. It's just enough, and this is so hard to perfect. It's just enough that it screams sensual and seductive and sexy without crossing that line into look at me trying to be sexual.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
so I just think you nailed this shot on all sides. I would have liked to have seen there's just a little bit of the highlight blown out on her cheeks. I would
Yeah.
have liked to have seen that jawline extend all the way to the ear. We lose it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, Same thing on the top of the arm and her back. Like, it's just a little bit overpowering there. And I
Yeah.
would have gone in and retouched under her arm where it meets her body, like that Y
Yeah.
split of the crease. Like, anytime you have more than one offshoot of a crease, it
Yeah.
translates as fat, which she obviously is not at all. So I would have gone in and smoothed that out and just kept the line going smoothly up.
Hmm.
But that's really it. I love it. I think it's very sensual. I like that the line of the side boob, comes out beyond the shirt and that you can see through it to the shape of it to appreciate it, because I think that if you couldn't see that, it would take away a lot of her figure because the
Yeah.
fabric hangs straight down off the one side.
Yeah.
So this is just exceptionally well done. And when we did this before and we did the Monday mentoring and I told you that you had a voice, girlfriend, this is it. This is the kind of work that other people are going to go, oh my God, I wish I could shoot like Agnes and I just love her work. That's what it's this. This is so the epitome of styled and you, and I can pick these images of yours out. It's phenomenal. So I'm giving you an exceptional because I
Thank
just
you.
love this shot.
Thank you. That means so much to me. Yeah, I feel like in the last few months I've been very like I worked with a new makeup artist and we just flow really well together and I feel like a lot of my creativity has been sparked so much lately and it's great. I'm very excited for what's to come. I feel a little overwhelmed, but who doesn't, I guess.
I'm very excited for what's to come. Let's do the next image.
All right. Sorry. You're like, I've done critiques this whole day. Let's do
No,
this.
I'm just really excited
No,
to
I'm
see your
kidding.
five.
um, okay, so yes, this is kind of, backlit, similar. Um, I would really love to work a little bit more on my retouching and maybe like the dodging and burning. I don't feel as comfortable with that as I would like. Because I feel like that could have been really great in this image and made it more interesting, maybe. I don't know, or
Mhm.
more like pop more. Because I feel like I love it, but I also feel like it's a little flat in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I can see that a little bit. There's a couple of things in this shot. I love, love, love the energy that she's putting out in the shot and the emotion of it. You can just feel it radiating from her. So you nailed it there. I don't like the fact that the highlights are blown out on the back of the outfit because you have just enough at the thickness of the seam to sort of follow this line up, but then you lose the rest of it. So I would either go in and edit that out so that the fabric just falls down and off the page, or if you can pull it back and darken it to give it some texture and some weight, because right now it's just kind of amputated from the rest of the photo because it's just hanging out there in the middle of nowhere, and there's not enough information to really follow what it's doing.
And that's so glaringly obvious right now that I never saw it before, and now I'm like, ah.
But that's really it. I would have retouched that line on her neck too, and probably blurred that down or just heel brushed it out. I love the energy. I love the light. I want to always critique a little bit that you blow out the highlights on the rim light when you backlight, but I also think that that's part of your style, and I love your style, so I'm really conflicted about you right now. So I think maybe just, again, as you're moving and you're working towards it, like I've seen so much growth in you in the last year. I think as you start to get a little more comfortable with retouching and finding it, like maybe just toning that down just a little bit and retaining some of the information will make a little bit stronger of images for you. Again, this one's very much in your style. I could pick this out as an image of yours. So I don't necessarily think that it needs too much. I kind of like the flatness and the matting of it. I think where you're losing it is the fact that the highlights are so harsh and blown out, and aside from even her hair, like where it's darkest, it's gray, it's not black. You have no true blacks in this image.
That's true.
So I think that's why you're seeing it flat, because your shadows aren't there. So you don't have the full spectrum, but you do have full white. So really, like, the way to kind of balance that is to either pull back further and come down a little bit on your curves and layers with the highlight, or punch up the dark a little bit. And you absolutely can do it with dodging and burning, but you can also do it just playing with your level adjustments. But it doesn't kill the shot for me. I like that it's soft because her expression is very soft. So it echoes the sentiment of that a lot. So this one would still make your portfolio for me. I'm going to give it a 2. I'm going to give it a commendable just because the back of the shirt really bothers me and the line of the neck.
Now I can't stop staring at it.
There are a couple of things you could have did to make it a little bit better, but it's a very high 2. It's almost a 3. But some of your other images I think are stronger than this one.
Okay, great. Awesome. All right, let's move along. Okay, this one was probably one of my favorites from our shoot. This image is actually like super messed up and blown out on the whole other side of her face. But I just loved her expression so much, and I'm like, what can I do? So I just chopped it, and I thought it would look really weird, but I ended up loving the way it looked. And you know, I don't know if her skin, because that's another, you know, like that's one thing I know that I have to, like I said before, work on is, you know, my retouching, especially with skin and whatnot. I don't know if it looks kind of fake or like too like peachy and perfect. And then I also wonder if I should have like blurred around the flowers a little bit, but then I also love the sharpness of it. I don't know if that takes away from like her face, but other than that, this was one of my favorites from the set.
Okay, so now that I know it's your favorite,
it's okay.
Put on your thick skin because it's my least favorite that you've shown.
Okay. No, that's totally good.
I think I like the ivy from her, and I like the color toning in that it's pulling in from the background and a little bit of the leaves with the foreground. The highlights are definitely hot on that side of her face, and even with the way you cropped it, like right along that bridge underneath your nose with the top of the lip. and the hair is a little bit distracting for me. So I might have gone in and actually taken some of her hair from the left side of the picture and
Mm-hmm.
just overlaid it with a transparency just to take some of that away.
Okay.
Um, love the expression. You have to be careful when you're retouching skin because she has this really beautiful, flawless, perfectly textured skin all over that half of her face, and then she has really dark and stark
Yeah.
lines under her eyes, which denote I'm not getting enough sleep and I'm old, which
Yeah.
her skin is not saying. So you're having some conflict there
Right.
that's giving away the fact that it's retouched and not that she just walks around with naturally flawless skin. So I would have gone in and definitely retouched the bottom line under the eye and that shadow a
Uh-huh.
little bit. The top doesn't bother me as much with the makeup. I would have liked to have seen a little more detail in her iris too, especially with the other shot, how they popped. You
Yeah.
know, it
I
being
think I was just
similar.
trying to salvage this one really bad because I loved her face in it, but
Mm,
because you know that the left side was obviously much darker, so
yeah,
trying to salvage that was
I know, and I'm with you, girlfriend. There's nothing I hate more than having a shot that I love
yeah,
that I didn't hit the mark on because I forgot to change my settings and the exposure. Yeah, I do that all the time, and it's a period of mourning, and part of mastery is going to be letting it go and suffering the loss as penance for not getting it right.
I know.
Um, so the only thing that I don't like about the ivy is that it's fake, and it's obviously fake.
Okay, yeah,
So it loses a little bit of like the little like fairy sprite kind of feel to it.
yeah,
Um, so I think I would go back in and just very, very subtly, like almost imperceptibly, blur that and let her eye and her be the star of the image because she's competing with the ivy for focus
yeah.
a little bit. So I'm actually going to give you a 1 on this one. This would not make your portfolio for me with some of the other work that I've seen. I get that you love it. I totally get why you love it, but I think this is
Fine.
one that you
Yeah,
have to let
no.
go.
There's just some things that you like, that you love and you want to save, and it just doesn't work out. But it's nice to hear from somebody else, critique from somebody else about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking at this now, I would have lost the frame, I think, maybe, because I think it's like very distracting now all of a sudden. Um, uh, I don't know if her face might be a little too bright, which I kind of love in a way, but also I don't know if it's like too overpowering compared to like her neck and her hands. Uh, and then, like you said with the previous image, I would have maybe gone in now and blurred the ivy and whatnot
Mm.
to kind of hold the focus more into her face and her eyes as opposed to the greenery around her.
I don't I don't hate the frame and texture overlay, but I don't think that you need it in this shot. And maybe going in and just upping the transparency a little so it's a little more subtle because it does work. I do see where you were going with it. I just, like you said, I think it's competing a little bit with the image.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of people do textures and overlays and things like that to distract from the fact that it's not a good photograph, and this is a good photograph. So it doesn't need to compete with anything else. It stands strong on its own. Um, I see where you were going with the concept for like the headpiece with the flowers and the ivy and the ribbon, but I don't think it works in this shot. I think the shot would have been a lot stronger if it had just been her with the hood without that, and you had let her be the focus because it's just pulling her right off the top corner of the page.
Yeah.
Because there's so much texture and contrast and sharp lines there that it's just competing with her, and it's taking over and it's making it very weighted because there's nothing on the other side. So I think either you had to get rid of it entirely or it
Right.
had to be centered and replicated on the other side of the head to give it a
Oh,
little
like
bit of symmetry.
right.
Um, that said, her face, flawless. Love the butterfly lighting. I don't think the light's too harsh, at least not how I'm seeing it on my computer. And I just positively love the way that you color tone your images. I just think
Thank
it's
you.
just so visually sexy.
Thank you.
Um, I probably would have gone in and added a little bit of blur to the lower half of the photo, particularly her hand because it's on the same
Yeah.
plane. So again, it's really sharp, and the line going up the
Yes.
outside of her palm is very, very stark, which to me says muscular, and muscular is usually equated to masculine.
Yeah.
Women are more curves, so it's taking away just a little bit for me, and I'm thinking that's probably her other hand underneath in the very
Yeah.
bottom there. That's not working for me. I would probably
Yeah.
go in and actually clone it out and let it be fabric because it's just
Yeah.
skin. So you lose that a little bit, and you might be able to just actually crop it up a little higher too,
Yeah.
right at the edge of it. That I think that would be fine. Love the ethereal expression. Love the coloring on it. So I'm going to give it a 2. I think it's commendable, but I think there were a couple of things you could have did that would have made it stronger.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. All right. Let's go. Okay, last image. I know this is funny because when I like put this out there, it wasn't uh, a favorite, but there's something that I just like love about her her face and the tattoo and then I was told, to maybe crop it a little tighter, but I just didn't like the way that looked. I don't know. There's just something like I feel like this photo reminds me of like I was just home in Connecticut, so that's probably why. But just like being in high school and like laying on the grass in the fields, with like a boy or something, and just having that dreamy feel. So I like that. I really don't love the headpiece in this at all, and uh, that's something that I would definitely change. I thought it would be interesting with the grass and whatever, but especially now looking at it, plus the necklace, it's like way too much. Um, and I would have probably cloned out that piece of grass on her elbow. It's really annoying me now.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, but I love her expression. I mean, I love her face and her expression. Her eyes are really beautiful. I don't know if they're like a little too dark. If I could have gone up a little more with that, since the dress is so white. But yeah, that's what I think about that one.
So I didn't actually catch that piece of grass on the elbow, but it's all I can see now. Go in and fix that.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
That said, you have that I can see. You have this triangle of competition around her face between the statement necklace, the headpiece, and the tattoo. One, you have to be really careful with tattoos that are writing because people always want to read whatever it is. That's why if you ever notice when you see like sample websites or whatever, they have the Latin text so that people can't read it. Like that's actually not even Latin. It's like nonsense. It doesn't even translate to something literal because the concept is for you to see the text placement and not read it because people will read it.
Yeah.
So, and that's a really great one, All Is Not Lost, but because it's upside down and you kind of like, I don't know if you like have seen like I've been turning my head. So it's not working because it's not the focus of the shot, but you might be able to rotate it to
Even
the side.
I've been because I tried to look. I mean, that's kind of
see, oh my God, yeah, I would totally pose it like this. I think that's way, way stronger than the original. I agree with you. The headpiece should go, and I love, love, love the necklace, but I think that it doesn't quite fit with the location, and she's got this kind of lacy, like very sexy Little House on the Prairie kind of thing going on where it's like almost to the point of boudoir, but it's still kind of country. And she's got this kind of fairy thing with this very like pay attention to me necklace. So it's not it's not quite working in this context. So I think if you had lost the necklace and lost the headset,
Yeah,
posted to the side and left the tattoo, that it would have been really strong.
cool.
As is, the thing that you can get rid of fairly easily in retouching would be the tattoo. So if you wanted to keep it upside down, I would clone out the tattoo and just leave it skin. Um, but I definitely think this orientation works better. Her
Yeah.
skin's a little green on her arms
Is it?
specifically. At least for my computer, I'm seeing a very different undertoning of color on her arms and hands than I am on her face, especially with the orange color in her cheeks.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And same thing, it's like very orangey and peachy along like her décolletage and under the necklace and directly above, but then the length of her neck under the jaw is very, very pale in comparison. So a little bit of attention to that to kind of even out the color tone, I think would have been beneficial too.
Right.
Again, stunning eyes. I'm not even giving you too much credit for them anymore because that's her. But
That's
you captured them really beautifully. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more texture and detail in her hair.
mhm.
Um, but I still really love this shot, even with that. I could deal with the necklace if we got rid of the headpiece, and I don't know, you might even be able to go in and clone in grass and get rid of most of it. Um, it would take a
Yeah,
while, but I almost think it would be worth it because I just think it's pulling so hard away from the attention of the shot that
right.
it would be worth the effort. So I'm going to give you a 2 for this one,
Awesome.
and only because we turned it sideways. Otherwise, I might have gone down to a 1 for you. So,
Yes, it's Saved by the Bell.
and that little shadow right along the seam of her arm at the beginning of her armpit, that's got to go to clone that out smooth.
Yeah, yeah.
People don't like armpits. We don't. They're just not sexy. So,
Why can't an armpit be sexy? That's
it's
just
just not. There's
okay.
nothing we can do about it. Okay, so you can go off and turn the screen share off now.
There we go.
And yay, I'm so excited we're getting to do this finally. I've been looking forward to this.
I know.
One-on-one with you is my favorite.
Oh, I feel the same way. I was in Texas for such a long time, and getting back and like trying to deal with business stuff was like crazy. I was like, wow, I really can't just take like 10 days off my life. It's just really a bad idea.
Maybe like 2, 3 days at a time is like that's a safe
Yeah.
amount to
No,
decompress without losing track.
it was John's grandma's 90th birthday, so we like, we like threw a party, and I was like around amazing old people for like a week. It was like incredible. It was like the greatest,
That's
greatest.
awesome.
Yeah.
And that's really important, like that balance and understanding when to set everything aside, like, because you'll pick it up, you're a little overwhelmed now, but in 2 days you'll be right back to stride and it
Yeah.
won't bother you.
I
Like,
know, and I go through this like vicious cycle every time I like go away on vacation. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like relax, and then I come back. I'm like, holy crap, why did I just ignore all my responsibilities? Um, and then after a few days, you're like, okay, I can deal with this. It's okay, we're good. So
okay,
thank
so
you for your time and your wonderful critique. I appreciate it. It's
you're very welcome. Let's talk a little bit about where you are now, because you've come leaps and bounds from the first time we did that. But where are you now, and where are you going?
um. So I just did like 5 photo shoots that I'm really excited about, but I did them in a row, so now I'm like kind of backed up, and I have client stuff that I also have to take care of, obviously, which is the most important thing right now. But I did a lot of really cool projects, and I'm still finishing up my like threesome project shoot, which I only have a few things left to do, which was really like a huge, epic, intense endeavor. But I'm really happy with the way it came out, and I learned a lot about shooting 3 people and how difficult it is.
Mm.
Um, in that, especially. Uh, I mean, I'd worked with 2 of the models before, but it's like very weird to bring in a guy for me. Like, I think if it was 3 women, it would have been totally a lot easier, but it's funny, I don't shoot guys as often, and that's what I started doing. So it's like it's not weird, but it's like, it's always a little awkward. I'm like, oh, pose, no, you can't pose like that. Forget that. But so I'm working on that. I have somebody helping with my website because I just try as I may cannot. It was just something that was like too much of. I just couldn't do. So that's something that is being outsourced right now, which is exciting, and I'm really pumped to have a brand new website. And then other than that, I know I need to like really get up on my retouching. I think that's like a really big goal for me to get that to a higher level. I'm really impatient, so it's difficult for me sometimes to like sit there and learn about it. But I'm like, why can't I just get this? But that's something that I'm definitely, like in the next few months, that's something that I really want to focus on and get up to a much higher level because I think it'll help immensely with my work.
Okay.
Because that's
So
what
definitely retouching as far as the art side. How are you doing on the business side? Is this all you're doing now, is shooting?
Yes.
How are you doing with that? Are you where you want to be?
It's really like picked up in the last couple of months, which is great. I feel a little overwhelmed by it, and I have one person that helps me with my client relations, which is really great. She's amazing. But I just feel like sometimes I will overbook, and then I feel like I get behind, and that's been an issue. So that's something that I kind of have to like slow things down and not cram like 80 things into a week.
Well, there are plenty of people that would love if their problem in business was that they were overbooked. Is that just poor scheduling on your part, or?
No. I think it's just and I think that this will, once I really like up my retouching skills, it'll help a lot with getting clients' projects out faster, because that's what I feel like that's been the big problem is getting things out in a timely manner.
So could we schedule less sessions so that you're not getting backed up by having them one-on-one, or is that like a money thing, like you're taking on all these sessions for?
I mean, a little bit of both, but I'm trying to like spread them out. But we're getting into like holiday season now, so that freaks me out too, because I'm like, oh crap, everyone wants Christmas photos, which is awesome, and I'm really pumped about that. And I want to do that, of course, for them. But yeah, I think really what I also need to do is go back into my packages and pricing and kind of shift things, because right now what I have, I think that's causing problems for me as far as getting out things in a timely manner with the amount of images that I'm putting per package and whatnot. So
there's two ways to handle that. Either you simplify your packages so that it's taking less work on the back end, and you're retouching them what you're putting together, or you raise your prices and do less sessions so that you can dedicate that kind of time. So given the choice between those two, what are you more likely to gravitate to?
I mean, honestly, I would love to raise my prices and do less sessions, just so that I can also have more time to do personal projects as well. That's really more the reason than anything else,
Okay, why aren't we doing that?
No, I am. I totally am. No, I'm I just did like, 3 or 4 in the last month, personal projects, and I'm really happy with that.
No, I mean, why aren't we raising your prices right now?
Because
I'm scared.
Well, no, it's not, and I can't sit here and be a hypocrite because I'm on these forums all the time, because I shoot out of my, like, less than 500 square foot studio apartment in New York City. Like, the majority of my stuff that I do is pretty much done there.
Okay.
I I don't know. Maybe it is because I'm like a big wuss. Who knows? I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I would want to offer more as far as the space is concerned, which I know this is ridiculous to charge more money.
No, I can understand that because I went through the same arguments myself because I was originally in my garage when I started, and I kept telling Mike over and over again that I couldn't charge the rates I wanted to charge while I was working out of the garage, which in hindsight isn't true. But if that's an issue for you where you're feeling like you can't do that in your apartment, is the idea to get a studio then, like a bigger place to work with? Do you want to own one? Do you want to rent? What's the goal there?
I would love to, but real estate here in New York is outrageous. I mean, you're not going to really find anything for under like 3 grand that's worth anything a month. So it's and the spaces are like awful. Like those like that's like bottom of the barrel. So I was thinking of either doing like hotel type sessions instead. Um, but I also like really love shooting out of. I know it's crazy. I love to shoot out of my apartment too because I know the light. I know everything. It's really easy in here. I can just come in and bam, do it, and I get great results. But I also want to offer my clients something a little more. Like I love my apartment. It's beautiful. It's my mom's an interior decorator. It looks like a boudoir in the bedroom area, and it looks like like an Italian like villa countryside home in the living room. It's beautiful, but it's also an apartment. So I feel like
It's New York. Everything's a little apartment. Even the big apartments are little apartments.
that's true. That's true. Um, I don't know.
And the experience is great, but girlfriend, like I have no doubt that when they're walking in, small or not, small translates to intimate when it's done properly, and I have no doubt that yours is. Between what
Yeah.
I've seen of the other house and what I know of you and your mom, like just talent everywhere. Like talent just threw up on the walls of that apartment. I have no doubt whatsoever. Like just happy endings of artistry everywhere in that apartment.
I
So
love.
that's not an issue. And the experience is important. It's essential.
Yeah.
But a lot of the experience has less to do with where they are and than it does with who they're with.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's the
true.
issue.
And I always, and on the forums, I always say that too. But when like if I literally had just like 2 more feet, I'd be like so pumped. Like it's just, when we live here, my fiance and I live here. It's like it's our home. Also, it's not just my workspace. I mean, I have Varipoles set up in the apartment, which are great, and they're up. At first we used to take them down. Now we just leave them up, and it's like half studio, half our life, which is fine, and I love it, and it's not something that bothers me. I sometimes I just would wish I had a little bit more room or variety to kind of play around with.
Well, you're kind of caught in this catch-22 with that because if you're not going to feel comfortable raising your prices until you have more space, how are you going to get the money to have more space?
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
I don't know if like the solution for me is to do like hotel type stuff, but then there's on the other end of the, and there's I can rent studio space from people as well, but that's expensive too.
so
But
anytime that you're adding in anything that's an expense for you, it just gets added into their price.
yeah,
You never come out of pocket for that. So if you want to start offering because you like the idea of having more space, then you can keep your rates right where they are for your studio sessions and go, you can come into my studio, which I love the light and I know every inch of and I can shoot most comfortably in, on your end of it, here's my little intimate, villa studio. that you can come into, or we can go shoot at this beautiful hotel here. If it costs you $250, it costs them an extra $300.
Okay.
You know, they
Yeah.
can upgrade to a beautiful swanky suite, or they can upgrade to the penthouse at the Waldorf Astoria for $2,000 and really have the whole 9 yards. But there are many other ways that you can add to the experience in your studio without adding square footage, because that square footage isn't going to matter to them. You can shoot them in a closet as long as the photos look like the ones you just showed me. They are going to pay for it. And Agnes, honey, like, you should definitely be commanding at least the rates that I am. At least. I don't care how big your studio is. It has so little to do with that.
It's so terrifying to me. I know, it's stupid, because that's the crap. I mean, I always, I tell everybody that. I'm like, know your worth. Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. You're completely right. I have nothing to say but that. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think that's something that, especially now, with my website getting done, and I kind of really want to, because I was asking around about, just from friends and whatnot about, what they thought about my online presence, and the big critique is like, oh, there's not kind of like a streamlined thing of what you do, and I'll post and put stuff up, and I haven't updated my website in like God knows how many years. But I'm pretty active on Facebook, and I feel like we kind of have that boudoir feel on Facebook. But like the rest of JLark Collect is not really branded in that way. It's not branded in any way, I don't think, and that's something that I also want to work on and kind of explore, because I feel like once I have my website and kind of have like a clear, I mean, I know what I want, but kind of have like that clear path, it's going to be easier for me to be like, okay, come to my beautiful studio, or let's go to a hotel and do this, and not feel like freaked out. I mean, I still get like freaked out when I do sales sessions and things like that. Like, I'm such a like horrible. It's hard for me. I've always been that way. Like, I don't know what it is. My mom's the same way. She's incredible at what she does, and I'm always yelling at her. I'm like, you need to charge for what you do, because it's amazing. You need to charge more. And she's always like, haha, I can't do it. And I yell at her about it, but I do the same thing too. So
it's a learned trait, and you should call your mom and tell her to knock it off, that if she wants her daughter to be successful, she will set a good example. That said, I'm going to give you some tough love, girlfriend. You are scapegoating hard right now. My rates and everything, I'd be okay doing that if I had 2 more feet in my apartment, and I'll be ready to do that when I have my beautiful website. But it's not, because as soon as you get your website, you're going to go, well, now I have my website, but if only I had a bigger studio. And then you're going to move over to a hotel, and you're going to go, but I don't know how to shoot in there like I do my studio. I really need to have a bigger studio, not a hotel. You're scapegoating right now. So I need you to drop that. And I need you to realize that, yes, if you build it, they will come, but also, like, you are it. They aren't coming for the studio. They aren't coming for your website. They aren't coming for the branding. They are coming to have portraits taken by the Agnes Fohn. That's it. They're beautiful. They're potent. They're powerful, feminine images that are created by you, and nobody else can give them that by you. You are where all of the value lies. Everything else is incidental. It is all right there at your hands, behind your lens and your eye. That is where all of the value is. And you're scapegoating it outward to everything else because you're not feeling confident about that. And I don't understand why, when I look at how beautiful your images are and how effervescent you are, online and in life, and how cute and bubbly and personal you are, and your ability to see that in so many other people. Why are you having a hard time with that with yourself?
I don't know. It's really strange. I guess I I guess I feel really like weirded out by um like I don't like to talk about myself. I don't know, it's like a weird thing. Like my mom and I have always like she's been the same way. Like she's always like be humble and so it's like weird when I for me to be like you need to pay me this because I'm good. You know, like I
Okay.
just want like as hippie and ridiculous as it sounds, I'm like I just want art and make people happy. And I know that's ridiculous because I have to make money, obviously. And
It's not. It's
and
not
you
ridiculous at all. The people that are
know,
that way are the people that make top dollar because they are so passionate, and profit will always follow passion. Always. Your problem is that I'm going to
yeah,
tell you what your problem is now. Your problem is that you are equating confidence with conceited, and it's not the same thing. So because you've had and humble being humble is an amazing quality. It's very attractive, especially with people that have talent. But you have to understand that humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less often than you do the people around you. And you do that. You are one of the most generous, compassionate spirits, and you are always lifting everybody else up. I just want you to translate that love back to yourself. Like, it's okay. You are really, really good at this, Agnes.
thank you.
Like,
Yeah.
but me saying that means nothing.
That's so not true, and you know it,
No,
please.
but it doesn't because I've been beating that into your head for 2 years now.
No,
And
I
we're still struggling here. So I need I need you to say it and convince me.
know. I feel like I'm on Oprah right now.
I'm not giving you a car.
I don't need a car. No, look. I love my work, and I know I'm good, um, and I appreciate all the love and support I get from everybody. And I know it's an issue. It's always been an issue with me. You know, I've always had to like fight through being. I'm like outwardly confident, but definitely not that way inside. Like and it's not. You know, like I have no problem speaking with people. Like I love interacting with people, and you know, I can be confident towards the world. But you know, it's just like it's like writing a bio for me is like torture. Like I always have to. I'm like somebody else do it because I cannot. I just can't talk about myself. It's like very strange. It's you know, like how do you explain yourself to somebody? Um, no one's ever going to feel the way you feel inside. You know, so it's always like a and on the other end of the spectrum, it's like I don't want to have to ever explain what I do. I want people to just see what I do and feel it instead of me telling them what it is, obviously. But that, you know, that's a whole nother issue. Um, but yeah, you know, I know I'm good. um,
I don't
and
believe you.
no, I do. I really, you can't love something so much and not be good at it.
Oh, sure you can. Oh, sure you can.
What?
But you're not. I see
Come on, I disagree.
my daughter loves singing more than anything in the entire world, and she's just more tone deaf than me. Um, so you can, but you are not one of them. But I want you to note the difference when you speak of other people and their talents because you will be right on it. But when I asked you to say that about yourself, you did what liars do and you kept your eyes down and you went, you know, if I said, you know, tell me about your favorite photographers and artists, so you could go off. And I have no doubt that if I asked you what you thought about my work, you would praise it to high heavens because that's the kind of person you are. And oh my God, your work is so gorgeous and I love it and you're so positive and you're such a good influence. Okay, well now tell me everything you love about you. Yeah, I'm good. I mean, no, I look good. You know, I have really pretty fingernails that I look at all the time while I'm trying to convince you. Do you believe me yet?
Stop
You know,
seeing into my soul, Jessica Lark. God.
here's the thing, Agnes, is that I have no doubt that it's easy for you to see the value and merit in your work. You know, you can look at those images that you picked for critique, and I know that you know that they're good. I know that you look at them and you can see absolutely every piece of that girl's spirit in every single one of those photos, and you captured that, and you did it in a very visually enchanting way, which is very, very powerful. But here's the thing. It's not the model, and it's not the retouching, and it's not the photography. It is the artist that is capturing it. And every single one of those beautiful portraits that you take are also a self-portrait. You cannot see what is not in you. If you don't start valuing your work and your time and yourself more, neither will anybody else, because you teach people how to treat you.
Yeah,
There's no way that you have this beautiful, talented mother and family, and that you have this wonderful fiance who just loves you to pieces and is incredibly talented and smart and obviously has good taste in life, and he picked you, you know, and all of the clients that are investing money in you for your vision. And I would not be beating on you 2 years later about it if I did not see so much insane potential in you. And the only obstacle that I see in your way is you feeling bad about feeling good about that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to close yourself down so that other people will know that you're humble. It's okay for you to be confident about the things that you're really good at. And you are really, really fucking good at this.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
So let's set aside the silly arguments about your studio space, because that's a hang-up.
Okay.
I totally get it, and I've used it too, but it's a hang-up. It's not.
You're right. No, you're totally. I mean, I've been shooting out of here for the past, 2 years now, almost. So, and it's worked, I always have that, like, moment, obviously, before a client comes in. I'm like, ugh, and the moment they walk in, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to be like, holy crap, this is the apartment I'm leaving. But I mean, I tell people it's a home studio, so, I feel like they expect it. But you're right, that's crap. And I need to move past that and, maybe offer the hotel as like a more, luxury experience as opposed to coming here, and set the prices for here maybe a little lower, and then go.
No. Don't set them lower. Don't ever lower your prices. You're getting paid what they are now.
Well, I mean lower than the hotel.
I mean, you can set the prices higher at the hotel because you have to cover the cost of renting the hotel room. So that should definitely be included. But the price of the session should be exactly the same. Yeah. It's just an add-on fee, like an on-location fee, Yes, you can play princess in the penthouse suite of said such and such hotel for an extra fee of blah, blah, blah. Or you can even set it that they can rent the hotel that they want to shoot in if they don't want to be in your studio. I'm thinking that you're going to get reinforced really quickly that everybody's just fine coming into your studio. Yeah. Because you take beautiful pictures anyway. You don't need a big fancy hotel room. You can take gorgeous portraits of them in the grass. We could just go lay around outside. Either way, I'm going to make you hot. Like, there's your new marketing campaign.
Even on the dirty streets of New York, I will make you hot and gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is that where most people get hung up is that they look at these things that they think would make them more successful, or things that they want to move forward. Like, I would like bigger studio space. But I can't have bigger studio space because I can afford it, and we'd have to have at least $3,000 a month to rent a place, probably closer to $5,000. So I'm just stuck here, so I'm going to stay here and not grow. And the thing is that you kind of have to grow. You have to do like the plant thing, and you have to grow bigger than your pot so that you get a new pot. Yeah. So if you want bigger and better studio space, it is time to up your rates, because if you are to the point that you are overbooked and having trouble keeping up, that is a very good sign that what you are asking people to part with financially is not in relation to the value that they are getting out of it in your images.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling overbooked, you can double your rates from where they are now, shoot half as many sessions, and make the same amount of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
No stress, extra time with the family, extra time, you know, whatever. And the thing is that even if you raised your prices, if you doubled them right now, I will put money on it. I will put your first session fee on the fact that you will only lose maybe 2 out of every 10 clients that you have.
Which would be still, like, unbelievably amazing.
Yeah, and you'll still, you know, that's still a ton more money. So if you're doing 10 sessions a month right now and you double your rates and get 6, great, you lost 4 people, you're still making more money and you were doing less work. And we love doing our work, but, you know, if you get to that point, then you'll start moving into newer markets, and then you'll be doing 10 sessions at that rate, and then you can double your prices again. Right. Or you can just keep doing it, and you can put all that money in a beautiful little jar, and I will buy you something very ornate and gorgeous and write in duct tape that says, Agnes's big fuck off New York apartment on
it. Yeah, love it. Love it. Yeah, that's totally, you're totally right. And I needed a good verbal spanking.
I'm happy to spank you anytime you need it, girlfriend.
And I'm in bed, too. It's perfect. Yes, so I need to just shut my face and realize my potential. And
I want you to do the opposite of that. I don't want you to shut your face. But what I do want you to do is I want you to get a pen and paper. And I want you, your personal homework assignment is to sit down and write 50 wonderful, amazing compliments to yourself that you would pay yourself if you weren't you. Because you're so complimentary to everybody else all the time. And they don't all have to be photography related. They can be personal. But here's the thing. The more they're related to your art and your business and the things that you are good at, what you're also going to be doing is not only reaffirming that for you, you're also going to be figuring out what your brand is and your experience and what those things are, because those are the things that sell. Because the problem is that most photographers, most anybody that's trying to sell their product or their business or whatever, they pick words that don't make any sense. Like, we're really fun. Right, because all of your competition's going around going, we're the non-fun guys. Like, so you can't have, like, you can't have good words where the opposite is a bad word. Like, you can't say fun because the opposite of that is boring. Nobody's going, we're the boring experience you really want. You know, we're really charismatic. Yeah, we're really dull and uninteresting. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a passionate photographer. I don't really like doing it. It's just for the money. You are in the wrong career, you know. So doing things like, you know, I come from a family of artists, and my mother is an interior designer, which is why my apartment looks like a villa in Tuscany in the middle of New York. You know, I'm sensual, I'm seductive, I'm, you know, really, really good at finding all of the things that are easy to love about other people, because then you take that and you translate that into the session, and that comes across visually, you know. So you're going to build your brand and basically put it on paper, but then at the same time, because you are an artist, you are your brand, and your brand is you, and you are your business, and your business is you. So everything that's true about this in the sales session is also true about you. So before you start selling everybody else on it, tape it up to the mirror, put it somewhere that you are going to see it once a day. You know, write yourself a freaking text message or an alarm that goes off every day and says, I deserve this. I am this good. It's okay for me to be confident about the fact that I am this good, and I need to raise my rates so I can have an extra 2 feet in my apartment.
Now I want a brand new apartment.
Yeah.
with an
Go for
extra
it.
room just for shooting. I actually, I kind of love like doing it out of my home. It's really, I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's horrible. I hate to clean for people, and it's constant stress. But I don't know. I feel like it just, for me at least, I feel like so intimate having somebody in my home and like letting them be themselves here because we are in
Yeah.
no judgment zone here on Amsterdam Avenue in New York. um,
Nice. And that's all, it's still part of the sales pitch and part of the thing. You have to remember too, like it's your home, you're used to it, you think it's small. Theirs might be half the size,
that's true. I've
you
definitely seen
know?
people with way smaller apartments than me, so
And it's probably far less enchanting.
that I would say just because I have confidence in my mother's abilities, but
Yeah, and you're used to it. You see it every day, so it loses a little bit of the magic, but for somebody just coming in, watch their faces when they walk in.
yeah. No, it's true, and everybody they're always like, "Oh my God, this is such a beautiful apartment," and it's true. No, I mean, when she literally came in and did this in 2 days. I mean, it's pretty bonkers. I would show you, but my house is a disaster right now. So,
No, no, it's good.
um,
So
but it definitely has some major visual appeal, and and I've done a lot with it. I can do a lot in my apartment, so I don't mind it as much. I think as a lot of people, but you know, moving
good.
on.
So 50 things of value about
Yes,
you,
and that I feel like will really
studio,
help.
art, all of
No,
the above.
that'll really help me a lot because like I was saying before, I have such a hard time, writing a bio or doing anything like that. But and kind of figuring out my branding. And I think that will be a great, great help. Kind of because you're right. It's basically you are your brand, so it's making a list of that and kind of breaking it down from there will be very helpful for me. So
Hmm.
I will
Good.
do it, and that way you'll get all the compliments about me. So
Yay! I'm excited. You have to post this too. I want to see
I
it.
will. I will.
All right, you survived your level 4 critique. You can now go to the second half of foundation levels, and
Excellent.
then we get to do this again at level 9.
Yes, I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
All right, girlfriend, I will
Thank you
talk to you
so much. I
soon.
appreciate it so much.
All
It's always
right,
a pleasure, Jessica. Mwah. Have a good night.
you too. Bye.